Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us today. Our topic today is the TEAS and TEAS login requirement, something we've got a lot of questions about, and we hope we can answer a lot of your questions here today. Participating today are Tanya Amos. She's the Trademark Legal Administrator for Electronic Filing and Public Web Services. Jen Chikoski, the Administrator for Trademark Examination Policy and Procedure. Megan Arthur, an IT Project Manager with the USPTO team. And my name is Matt Schwab. I'm a staff attorney for Electronic Filing and Public Web Services. So I just want to let you know that we're going to be taking questions. We've had some submitted in advance via email or in writing. We'll also be taking questions that are submitted via the web, and we're going to be answering those questions after the initial demonstration. We hope to get to all the questions, and if we don't, we're going to be answering them all in a document and posting that document online along with this presentation for reference. There's also going to be a PowerPoint that's going to go along with this presentation, and we'll be submitting that too online. Now, even though we're taking questions afterwards, there's one question that has been asked a lot that I just wanted to address up front. And that question is just, will a paralegal or a professional legal staff member need attorney sponsorship in order to use a USPTO.gov login for filing purposes? And the answer is no, not at this point. So the login requirement is going to roll out in a few different stages, and starting October 26th, this first stage will not require attorney sponsorship. It's not going to be, if you're familiar with how Patents does things, it's not going to be the same as, for example, EFS Web. You just need a valid USPTO.gov account to access the TEAS and TEAS files and make filings. And I just want to make one more comment before we begin. Although login is new for trademarks and new to TEAS, I suspect it's not new to most of you in the audience. We use login for online banking, for paying your taxes, and we use additional features of that, like two-factor authentication or two-step authentication for a variety of things. I just had to use it when I logged in with my email on a new computer. So we do know that many of you are going to be familiar with the things we're going to be talking about. But we just want to make sure that we cover everything in detail so there aren't any surprises. And again, we'll be answering any further questions you have after this. We're also going to be available for questions and support through the email and phone numbers that will be presented in the demonstrations if you have any more questions. With that, I'd like to start the presentation. So, what is the requirement? It's relatively simple to explain, and now we'll spend another 35 minutes telling you about it. But just simply, to access and file forms through TEAS or TEAS, you're going to need to log in to a USPTO.gov account with two-step authentication. So what is two-step authentication? That's when you sign in with your username and a password, and then you have to provide an additional piece of data to complete the process. In this case, the USPTO is going to issue you a 6-digit code, and you'll have a variety of means that you can use to receive this code, and we'll go through those further. The change isn't going to be to the forms themselves, but rather when you try to access the forms. You're going to be prompted to log in with your USPTO.gov account if you haven't logged in already. If you already logged in, when you click through the TEAS or TEAS link, you're going to access the form just like you're used to. So there really won't be a change there if you're already logged in. And finally, just to reiterate, the forms are not changing in this update, but they will be protected behind this login process. You can get ready in advance for this change by setting up a USPTO.gov account, and we'll talk about that and we'll walk you through it in this demonstration. And these measures are going to allow us to better track who and when forms are filed and reduce misuse of our electronic forms in all our filing systems. So, the first round of changes is coming October 26th. To recap, to access the TEAS or TEAS forms, you'll need to log into your USPTO.gov account with two-step authentication. Log in with your username and password, and then that second step to access it. We'll have more information about the second step and how often you'll have to use it later on in the presentation. And the second major change is a change to the TEAS timeout. As you know, the forms already have a timeout. The timeout policy will be 30 minutes of inactivity starting on October 26th. This is in compliance with the Federal Information Security Management Act, or FISMA, and unfortunately, the 30 minutes is going to be what is required by federal law for this. We know the timeout period had been a little different earlier, but the whole procedure will be a little different, and we hope you'll be able to avoid an accidental timeout due to some of the next steps we're going to take. And we have more changes to come. So the October 26th changes are the first step towards this more secure filing system. In spring 2020, we plan to roll out some changes associated with a second wave, and this will allow you to verify the account holder information. That means specifically tie an account to a real individual whose identity has been authenticated. So we expect this again to improve security and reduce fraud. And then in summer 2020, summer of next year, you'll be able to control and delegate access to these files. There will be various levels of control and access, and some of them may resemble in some ways the attorney sponsorship situation that we talked about before, but the details on those will still be emerging. It may be that without proper authorization, you won't be able to file on certain filings that have been protected. And again, this is for security, but I also want to say at this point that we've mentioned increasing filing security, and that is one of our primary goals, but these changes are also going to allow us to provide additional features and enhancements as we modernize the overall filing experience. So with a USPTO.gov account that you'll need to log in to TEAS and TEAS-I, you'll also have access to productivity and management tools through MyUSPTO. You can see that at my.uspto.gov, and we'll talk about that later too. So next, we want to demonstrate how to create an account. There may be some variation in the account creation process depending on where you're arriving from. So for instance, if you click a TEAS link and you're prompted to create an account to go ahead and continue, you may see a slightly different flow than you'll see here. So for right now, we're going to show you how to create an account starting from the MyUSPTO homepage. And Meg Arthur is also here to demonstrate that for us.
All right, thank you, Matt. My name is Megan Arthur, and like Matt said, the account creation and sign-on process should be fairly simple for most of the users. I will walk you through it step by step, and I will try to go very slowly as I create my account and then show you how to sign in with two-step authentication. Like Matt said, you'll be able to access the sign-in page by going to my.uspto.gov. You can also access it from the TEAS form page. And if you're used to logging in from the USPTO.gov site, you just click My USPTO. From the sign-up page, you would select the Create Account button. You potentially already have an account if you've used a stored payment method, you currently use Private Pair or EFS Web, or you've ordered something recently from the Certified Copy Center. All of them are utilizing the USPTO.gov account, and this is the same account, and you would not need to create a new account, but potentially you would need to opt in for the two-step authentication feature. So like I said, you would select the Create Account button, and here we will ask you for some initial information. Please select an email address that you have access to on a regular basis. So we're asking for your email and your first and last name. You'll notice that required fields are indicated with an asterisk. All right. You'll select I'm not a robot. You might have to do a pesky reCAPTCHA challenge. All right, and then you'll also need to check that you've read the terms of use and privacy policies. Here you'll see it stated that it is required that these are individual accounts. Please take a look at the terms of use and privacy policies before creating your account. All right, Now you should be told that you should receive an activation link to the email that you just provided. I'm going to go to my Gmail now, where that activation link should have been sent. These activation links are valid for 48 hours. If for whatever reason you are not able to access or do not receive the activation link within that 48-hour period, you will be able to contact the Trademark Assistance Center or the UCC to have them resend that initial activation link. All right, so I've received the email from the USPTO.gov accounts page, and here is my activation link. You simply open the email, and you select the Activate Account button. The account creation page will be brought up, and you will be asked to add your password and 3 security questions. Okay, so here I'm going to add my password. You'll notice that as I'm creating my passwords, the password requirements are getting checked off as I make them. So if your password is not accepted, take a look at this password requirement guidance and make sure that you have 3 green check boxes on each one of them. We also have the show feature, so you can confirm that you've accurately duplicated your password in both fields. Here, you're going to be asked to create security questions. Please select questions that you will remember the answers to. And please read the security questions. All right, then I'm going to select the Activate Your Account button. From here, I'm going to be brought to an additional account page that will include other profile information like my address and the 2-step authentication section. All right, so here you're brought to the account page. And at first, you're seeing the 2-step authentication section. We highly recommend that you check this box that says you want to use this 2-step authentication method every time you sign in. By checking this box, you will not be asked to complete a reCAPTCHA challenge, and you will also access the TEAS form at the correct level of authentication each time. If you do not check this box, you will sign in with your username and password, and then once you attempt to select a TEAS form, you will be asked to step up with that second step using the PIN. So again, I highly recommend that you check this box so you enter those 3 steps all at the same time. Here you'll notice that we are asking for information. Some fields are required and some fields are not. Please make sure to fill out all the required fields. You will be notified if you do not. All right, once you've entered the required information, please select Save. Okay, it's then going to load my new profile information. Here I'm brought to the My USPTO homepage. These first slides are tutorials that will show you all the great features that the My USPTO homepage allows you to access. You can go through the slide deck at your leisure. I've seen it several times, so I'm going to hit Don't Show Me Again at this point. Okay. Once you're logged in to the My USPTO site, you're going to go back to your name in the right-hand corner and select Account. All right. From then, you're going to enroll in this 2-step authentication process. You'll notice that you have the ability to change the email address on file here. You can change your security questions and your password at any time. For the two-step authentication section, you've already noted that I've checked this box and that the email method has been defaulted as my selection. To request your PIN via email, and this PIN will get sent to the email address you have on file associated with your USPTO.gov account, you do not need to take any action. It is highly recommended that you set up more than one method to receive your PIN for the two-step authentication process. I'm going to slowly walk you through setting up the phone call method as well as the code generator app method. All right. To set up the phone call method, you will notice that I'm not able to do that until I verify and enable my phone number. Here we are going to make a call to your phone. It is not a text message. And we are going to verify that this phone can actually receive PINs. So you're going to have to bear with me because I'm going to do this live. All right, so you hit verify and enable. The phone number that it is going to call is the one that you've listed on your profile. You have the ability to verify and enable multiple phone numbers. All right, it's telling me that a 6-digit PIN is going to be sent via phone call, so I'm going to say call now. It's calling me.
Your USPTO one-time PIN is 3680334. Thanks for using USPTO role-based access control. To repeat this message, press 1.
If you did not receive or hear the PIN the first time, you are able to repeat it a number of times. Here I'm going to show you what will happen if I enter the wrong PIN. All right, it's going to tell me that I've selected the wrong code. And then I'm going to enter it correctly and hit verify. If for whatever reason your phone is not working, you don't receive it, you can select call again and it will make another call. All right, so now I have configured my phone. You'll notice that the verify and enable link is gone and that a green checkbox or circle is associated now with this work phone number. This will allow me to receive the PIN via phone call at any time. All right, the code generator app. For those of you who have smartphones or mobile devices that you wish to use to sign in or receive the PIN, you can enable and set up an app on your phone. All right, so you select the enable and setup button, and again, I'm going to do this live, so bear with me. We're going to provide you with detailed instructions on how to download and configure the app. You can go to your app store, whether it be your iPhone or Samsung or Google, and locate an authenticator app. Here, we're recommending the Google Authenticator, Microsoft, or Oracle. As far as we know, most authentication apps will work with this two-step process. Once you locate an app on your phone, download it and add it to your phone, then you hit continue. All right, I've chose the Google Authenticator app. I'm going to hit the begin setup. It's going to give me the option to scan a barcode or enter it manually. I'm going to scan the barcode. You simply put your phone against the computer and it's generating a 6-digit PIN. You hit continue. And you're going to be asked to enter 2 PINs consecutively. Here we're going to have to wait for 30 seconds until that second PIN is generated. Please note that you must enter 2 consecutive unique PINs. All right, the countdown is coming, so it's about to change and give me that second 6-digit PIN. Okay, configuration is complete and it's been successful. Now that I've configured the app on my phone, if I wanted to use that as my two-step method, I would simply open that app, look at what the 6-digit number is displaying, and then I would enter that as part of the sign-in process. All right, I have now configured all 3 methods. Again, we highly recommend that you configure at least 2. While signing in, I noticed that I had a typo in my name. So at any time, you're able to update your name. After you make your changes, you want to click Save. Okay, and now I'm going to sign out of the account and show you how to sign in using that two-step method. Okay. So you click Sign In. You enter your username, which is your email address, and if you would like your email address to be remembered, you simply check the Remember My Email Address, and it will be pre-populated for you at each login. You click Continue. Now it's asking you for your password. Every time you sign in, you will be asked for your username and password. Okay, now it's asking for the two-step authentication. Because I configured all three methods, they are all three available to me. I can toggle to any one of the ones that I've configured at any time. If I only had email and I did not configure another method, that would be the only one available to me. I am going to select the email method and click Next. All right. It is now going to send that 6-digit PIN to my email. Typically, the PINs come in in a matter of 30 seconds to a minute, but please be patient if you don't receive it initially. Some law firms have kind of blockers that slow down email servers, so just give it a minute before you ask for it to be resent so there's no confusion as to which is the active PIN. Okay, there's my authentication code. If you're going to copy and paste it like I did, please be sure that you remove that period, or it will let you know that it's not correct. An important thing to remember is to check this box, that this is a computer and I trust and use regularly, if that's the case. If you check this box, you will only be asked for this 6-digit code once in a 24-hour period. If you do not check this box, you will be asked for a 6-digit code every time you sign in that day. Okay, so it's highly recommended if you're using a trusted computer to check this box, so you're only asked to step up with the two-step authentication method once a day. I'm going to hit Verify. The phone and the email pins are all valid for 20 minutes. The pin that you receive on your app changes every 30 seconds, so that's its life cycle. Okay, so now I'm signed in. You'll see here that there are several widgets available to you. We highly recommend you check out our trademark docket, our Trademark Official Gazette widget, and our trademark form finder. If at any time you have questions about the login process, there will be people at the TEAS at USPTO.gov and at the Trademark Assistance Center to help you during the account creation process. All right, at this time, I'm going to give it back to Matt. And I think I might have closed your PowerPoint, so give us a minute while we try to locate it.
That's all right. It's very good. Okay. Thank you, Megan, for that demo. And no harm, no foul. We're back in. So I just wanted to recap a few of the things that we saw in that presentation there. After that, we're going to open it up for questions. So first, again, the changes are primarily in the access to the forms. So you're going to try and access a form either from a response to office action link or something in an email you received, a reminder, or through the TEAS main page or through the index of all forms page, any of the ways you typically get to the TEAS forms. And you're going to be prompted to log in if you're not already logged in when you click that link. And if you haven't logged in with two-step authentication, you will be asked to provide the second step to continue the login process. If you need to do that second step of authentication, we'll send you the authentication code during the login process, and you'll have to enter it to access the form. And again, you can choose how you want to receive it. Default method is email, and you don't have to set that up specially. You can also set up a phone number in the United States and Canada, or you can set up that authenticator application. As a reminder, the USPTO does not create or technically support these authenticator applications, but you can still use the authenticator application, and we will tell you the information that we have for you to set it up. Then again, once you authenticate, and this is probably of interest to many of our users, you'll be able to log in and out of your account for up to 24 hours if you check the box, "This is a computer that I trust and use regularly." So checking that box, it will put a cookie on your computer, and that will allow the computer to recognize that it's a trusted computer, and we'll let you into the forms. If you change web browsers or computers or mobile devices, you will need to re-authenticate during the first login for each device. So just because it says, "I trust this computer," if you're using a different browser, it will treat it as a new computer effectively, and you'll need to re-authenticate. But again, once you authenticate for the day, that's it. If you check that box, that will be the only time you need to do it that day. There are actually some exemptions to this process. Although the login has been designed to increase security of the forms, we are excluding certain parts of the process from a login requirement. That means you will not need to log in to access two areas of our TEAS and TEAS-I forms. These are the e-signature for TEAS forms and the TEAS-I send for review functions. And the reason we've done this is, one, in the case of the TEAS e-signature process, there are no changes being made to a form. It's only being authorized. And the TEAS-I send for review, there's no written authorization. It's simply a review page. So there are really no changes being made to the application in these steps. And two, we're doing it because it's probably for the best if someone doesn't need to create a USPTO.gov account merely to sign a document, if that's the only thing that they need to do. So, for example, if an attorney creates a document and fills out the application and sends it to a client for signature, the client does not need to sign up for a USPTO.gov account to access the signature page. The client can sign electronically and return it to the attorney for final submission. And so that will be, again, not protected by login. That will be available for all. The other changes we discussed are to the TEAS TEAS-I timeout function. So just to briefly describe what will happen, after 25 minutes of activity, a pop-up window will appear at the top center of the screen. It will ask you if you want to continue, and it'll have a 5-minute countdown, real-time countdown on there. Your session will time out after 30 minutes of inactivity. If that 5 minutes counts down to 0, your session will time out. And so we discussed inactivity. So what constitutes activity? It's the same things that have constituted activity in the current iteration of TEAS. So this is clicking on the navigation buttons at the bottom of the form, not the browser back and forward, but the go back, continue, submit, validate buttons that are built into the TEAS forms toward the bottom. Those will extend your session. Every time you change pages, you will get a new time period starting over again. Also, attaching or uploading files to the TEAS form will extend the life of your session. So, for instance, if you're in the middle of the form and you get a phone call and you lose track of time when you're on the phone and you don't take any of these actions, you may time out. And if you time out, it goes to this bottom point, the information you've entered in the form will not be saved. It will be lost. If you have saved your form by navigating to the end of a form, all the way to the validation page, and then clicking on the Save button at the bottom and specifically saving that to your computer, then your changes will be saved. Even if you later time out, the changes that you saved will still be usable. However, if you do not take this step, the information will be lost, and you'll need to start over with a new filing. I also want to note that this new October 26th TEAS upgrade is going to be taking place around 2 p.m. on Saturday. So TEAS and TEAS-I will be down until 2 p.m. on Saturday. And after that, the requirement will be active. Once it's active, you will not be able to use saved files that you created prior to this date. So if you have anything from before 2 p.m. on October 26th that you created and saved, it will not be usable after the login is implemented. And if we get a chance, we can show you where to check on the status and of TEAS upgrades and system maintenance. It's actually really easy to find from the USPTO.gov homepage. Hopefully we can show you that during the Q&A session. Whether you are using a third-party software solution that integrates with TEAS, or you're the owner of a third-party software solution that integrates with TEAS, please feel free to contact us with any technical questions or any other questions or concerns you have. We'll make sure that if the questions are technical in nature, they will be routed properly to a team that has a high degree of technical expertise. But please do send those questions to teas@uspto.gov. Again, our future enhancements in spring of this next year, we'll be able to verify the account holder information and the identity of the account holder. And following that, in summer 2020, customers will have greater ability to control and delegate access to their filings. This may take the form of law firms creating accounts with specific privileges, of a pro se applicant deciding to exclude any other parties from modifying their files. There will be a wide variety of options that you'll have, so look for that. And finally, stay up to date. You can visit uspto.gov/trademark/login for more information about this new requirement. We're going to be updating this page continually. It's already been updated several times with the latest information that we have on it and links to other sources of information about our new login requirement. This is essentially the information portal for anything that you're going to want to know about login. We'll post it all there, including links to this webinar once it's uploaded and saved, the PowerPoint that goes along with it. Just for your reference, the PowerPoint contains several slides that were not presented during this demonstration. They're essentially screenshots of much of the process that Meg demoed for us, account creation and signing in using two-step authentication. So if you do not happen to have a photographic memory, we do have those slides for you so you can use them as reference material. Also, email us, teas@uspto.gov, or call the Trademark Assistance Center at 1-800-786-9199 for assistance and information. We will be here to help you through this transition. So I just want to thank you for attending today. And so we're going to be responding to the questions received, and we're going to respond to some now with the time we have remaining to us. Those we don't get to, we'll respond to in writing and post online. Thank you in advance for your time. And now let's go to the questions.
All right, and to ask a question today, please email us at tm_webinar@uspto.gov. We have a few questions to get us started, Matt. The first one that we have is, what time does the deployment start on October 26th? You noted that it finishes at 2 p.m. When does it start?
It's going to start at 8 a.m. So during that time, and as it notes on the outage page, let me show them where to find the outage page, if that's all right. All right, so here I am at the USPTO.gov main page. We have a Find It Fast section in this blue box on the right. There's a trademark section that will expand. And down at the bottom of the Find It Fast, we have our system status. So let's go there and check it out. A system status page will tell you whether there are currently any outages. There are none, and our planned events, this will be on October 26th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So TEAS will be down for this change during that time. So if you have any other questions, we'll keep this updated either with current outages or planned maintenance.
Okay, we have another question, and this one sounds like it might be for Megan. It's, how do I get back to the TEAS forms from my USPTO?
Sure. Within my USPTO, there are black navigation menus. Let me just go back to my USPTO. Again, that URL is my.uspto.gov. And you'll see this navigation. You'll have access to the trademark and patent menus regardless if you're signed in or not. You would simply go to Trademarks. And if you've signed in, when you hit File Trademark Forms, it would recognize you at the appropriate level of authentication, and you would have access to the forms that you need for submission. So again, it's going to my USPTO, the Trademarks menu in the black navigation, and File Trademark Forms. Think of my USPTO as kind of your one-stop shop to all things USPTO. There's quick links to all the commonly used sites for both patent, trademark, and fees. Okay.
All right. We've got another question from the public, which is, should everyone who works on a TEAS form have their own login, or should the person preparing the form use the account of the attorney for whom they're preparing?
The idea is that everyone will have their own account. So the accounts are obviously free to create, and the account, especially when it comes to the next stages where we're doing identification, authentication, and verification, those will be a one-person, one-account type of policy. So yeah, we do encourage people to create their own accounts for filing.
Okay. Jen, do you have any questions?
Yes. Question about browser compatibility. What browsers has this login been tested on?
Okay, the USPTO has tested my USPTO on Internet Explorer, Chrome, and Firefox. It's probably compatible with several browsers, but those are the ones that it's been tested on.
Is this compatible with all computer operating systems?
For the most part, if you have a new computer or have recently updated your operating system, it will be completely compatible. So just be sure that you're running on a fairly recent operating system in order for the pins and everything to happen seamlessly.
Okay. And finally, who should I contact if I have problems about logging in?
So again, maybe I can put up that last slide. All right. I will inefficiently navigate to the end. So again, contact TEAS at USPTO.gov or call the Trademark Assistance Center at 1-800-786-9199. And there's also an email address for the Trademark Assistance Center. I believe it's trademarkassistancecenter@USPTO.gov. Is that correct? All one word? So you can also email them directly with any questions. By far, the easiest way to create an account is online. So it's definitely a good idea to start with the online process and contact us if you have any trouble with that. If for whatever reason that's not working, we can go through the account creation process over the phone. It takes a little more time. So yeah, those are your points of contact for assistance.
Okay, I have a question about if you enter the code incorrectly several times, will you be timed out?
So during sign-in, if you've entered your password incorrectly 5 times, you will be temporarily locked out of the system for 20 minutes. You're able to reset your password instantly if you would like to sign in and try again. If you enter the 6-digit code incorrectly 4 times, you will be temporarily locked out of the system for 20 minutes.
Okay. We have another question that says, if the assistants use the account, can multiple TEAS forms be prepared at the same time under a single myuspto.gov login?
It sounds like we're talking probably about legal assistants or paralegals. Again, the person preparing or working on a filing should use their own account instead of logging into someone's account, again, for the coming identification process that we talked about. However, for instance, I know we had a question in email, and I might be jumping the gun on this. We had a question in email about if a paralegal creates a saved application, can I, as an attorney, go in and sign and submit that? With my own account, yes. A paralegal could create that application, enter the information, and prepare it for the attorney, save that file, and then send the file to the attorney. The attorney could open it, log into their own USPTO.gov account, and then sign and submit the application. So yeah, that's something that's done. It's not locked to the person who started it. It has to be the one who submits it.
And one other thing that I do want to add is the question did ask whether multiple TEAS filings could be prepared at the same time. We do not advise that you do that. There is the possibility of data crossing over from one file to the other. So our best practice recommendation is that you complete one filing, close out your session, and then start a new one for the next form that you need to file.
Sure.
Let's see if we have any other questions that have come in. Will the TEAS forms be saved only to the myuspto.gov environment, or do they also save to the computer?
So at this point, the forms are going to save just as they have. So that means they're going to save locally to the computer that you're working on. Currently, we're not going to have the capability to sort of save the application to the cloud, essentially, or save the progress as you go if your session is timed out or you close your session or you log out. We won't have that capability. So the timeout policy does not mean you have to finish the form from start to end in 30 minutes, but you do need to be continually active on the form during the process, and it's as now is not going to save automatically. There has been discussion about whether that would be a future feature. We know it is highly desired, and so we will be having very serious discussions about whether that's something that could be done in the future.
Okay, we have another question, this one about the session timeout. It says, regarding the proposed reduction in time for session from 60 minutes to 30 minutes, people rarely have the luxury of preparing a TEAS form with no interruptions. Are you able to reconsider this 30-minute restriction?
Unfortunately, no. We did get a lot of feedback, even before this was announced about our timeout policies. And it is going to be a little bit different than it has in the past. As we mentioned earlier, the Federal Information Security Management Act does require both for sensitive information, it requires this two-step authentication step, and it's also going to require this 30-minute timeout policy. It's something that is consistent across the USPTO agency-wide and many other federal agencies too. And so we will do our best to help everyone adjust to the change. But it was ultimately not something that we had the option of extending.
Okay, and the last question that I have, so if you have any more, please send them on in, is should everyone that at our law firm that works on forms have their own login, or does only one person need to have them?
Again, as before, the idea is that each individual working on something has their own login. We will be giving more information once the details are decided and established about some of those future down the road phases where we would be talking about maybe law firms having different levels of access depending on the role of the user. We may revisit the issue at that point, but right now the idea is that each USPTO.gov account will correspond to one real human.
Okay, it looks like we have another question coming on in. It says, will e-signature links expire after login?
Yes. Yes, if you're talking about e-signature links for things that are being sent right now, yes. Unfortunately, every time we do a major TEAS change, like this one that requires an outage to take the system down and bring it back up, the e-signature links will not work, and the saved form files also will not work. So please encourage people, if there are outstanding e-signatures now or in the coming weeks, to sign those before October 26th.
And also, if you, after we set up a login and it's implemented on October 26th, if you send out a form for e-signature, the 14-day period to have that form signed will remain in effect. This login procedure has not changed any of the underlying functionality of the TEAS forms. Let me just take a look and see if there's anything else. Oh, it looks like there's another question, so just bear with us for a second. It says if one person prepares the form but is sick, can someone else complete the form?
Well, there are two parts to that question. One is a legal sufficiency question, and one is a technical question. For now, I will say that whoever is submitting a form should be someone who is authorized to submit that form. So we discussed earlier that you would be able to have a separate account belonging to, for instance, a paralegal, prepare a form and send it to an attorney to sign and submit. So from a technical standpoint, that scenario can happen. We do want to make sure that everybody who is submitting forms is authorized to do so. So as long as you're authorized to do so in that scenario, yes, it could be a different person.
Okay, we have another question, which is if several assistants have an account, are they able to access TEAS forms? And I think we want each person to have a separate login for each account, but once you are logged in, you can access whichever form you want.
Yeah, that's right. At this first stage, there is sort of no siloing between the different accounts and which forms they can access. That is going to be something that's going to be a feature that's coming down the road, the ability to restrict access or grant permission to different accounts depending on their level and other permission levels. But right now, as long as you have an account, you'll be able to make filings.
And we have another question that's coming to us. And I'll just get a little bit of clarification on the
I have a question for Megan.
Okay, sure.
The authentication apps that you can use, will that information be found? I mean, I know you did it live, but we would need to put it in the slide deck for people to have as a reference.
Sure. If you try to start the process your own during the account creation process, we will recommend there's step-by-step instructions that are pretty user-friendly. Again, what's been tested is the Google Authenticator, the Microsoft Authenticator, and the Oracle Authenticator. But again, we're from what we've heard from our users, most authentication apps are compatible.
And there also are there are My USPTO FAQs.
Correct. Yeah.
That have on the website that have additional information on configuring the authenticators, on who makes them, and sort of the limit to the scope of service that we can provide on them. Again, if an app is malfunctioning, that's going to be something we won't be able to help with. But setting it up and configuring, those things can be found on the FAQs.
And the question that we just received is, of the three options that you have to receive a code, is any one better? Do they all work?
I think it's personal preference. They all work. If you do not want to wait for an email or a phone call, the app is great because it's instantly, you just look down at your phone and it's there. I don't recommend any one over the other. I just recommend configuring two methods in case you, for whatever reason, don't have access to your phone or can't access your email, or potentially there's some type of email server delay on receiving the PIN. So I just highly recommend configuring at least two, but all three is great.
Okay.
And just to recap for anyone who may have stepped away for a moment or missed it otherwise, the phone option is referring to a voice call, not a text, but a voice call on either a US or Canada phone number. So if you were hoping for a text, get back to us. But for right now, it's the voice call that was demonstrated live that reads the PIN out to you.
Correct.
All right, and I have a question for Megan.
Okay.
This is, if I'm a patent person, can I use the My USPTO account that I've created for patents?
Yes. So if you are kind of a dual filer, as soon as you sign in, whether you hop to EFS Web or Private Pair, it's going to recognize you as signed in. Then you can jump to TEAS and you'll also be recognized. You can also follow the process all the way to payment, and because it's the same one as your stored payment method, no additional login, you'll be signed in, they'll recognize the stored payment method, and you can pay from there. It's all one account now, USPTO.gov account.
Yeah, that's a good point because I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah, almost half of people who are paying right now in Financial Manager are using a stored payment method associated with the USPTO.gov account. So USPTO.gov, you can use the one you have. You can use the one you've been paying with Financial Manager. You can use the one you've been using for patent work. It's all the same, and you won't need to do any special reconfiguration to use it for a trademark filing.
Mm-hmm. And it will not be possible for you to try to recreate that account under the same email. We'll let you know that it already exists.
All right, and we have another question about whether or not multiple people can access and use one account.
Again, there's a legal and technical element to it, and I'm going to say from a legal perspective, again, going back to this ID issue, it is highly recommended that you keep your account information confidential to yourself and that you use it for your own work and not try to use shared accounts. Again, at this point, there's no reason to use shared accounts because everyone can create their own account and it's free and they'll all be able to log in and work on the same files as one another or overlapping files as assigned or whatever. So please, we recommend, because for security reasons and eventually for these ID reasons, part of what we're doing is keeping better tabs on who is filing what. And the more we know about that, the safer we can keep everyone's files.
And to that end, I highly recommend reading the terms of use because the terms of use state that these should be individual accounts and not shared.
Okay, that's good to know. It sounds like that's everything that we have in the box. So.
All right. Tanya, Megan, Jen, thanks for being here with us today. Thanks everyone for tuning in to watch. Again, TEAS at USPTO.gov for email questions, Trademark Assistance Center at 1-800-786-9199 for questions by phone. And we'll be posting all of the latest information to www.uspto.gov/trademark/login. Go there and you'll find all the latest information about this. October 26th at 2 p.m. will be the date of our big change. Thanks for tuning in today, and we appreciate it. Thank you.